Why isn't that working? Oh my god, are you kidding? Oh, I know why. Maybe it is working. It was working and I just couldn't hear it. Haha. So professional. This is the Daily Freakout, the most professional show you've ever come across. And unfortunately, the most professional show I've ever done. Why have we got a bit of noise? Oh, that's very disappointing. We'll work on that throughout the show. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is Tuesday, the 12th of May, 2026. We've got some news. We've got some Hammond organ music. I don't know where I got these records from, but there's a strange amount of Hammond organ music going on, and that's good. I like that because Hammond organ music is pretty good. Maybe it's because of that. There we go. I think that sounds a bit better. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much. Yesterday's show went well. We only got a few people watching, and they only watched about 30 seconds, which means they've probably already stopped watching. So if you're watching now, you have actually made it longer than the average Daily Freakout viewer. So thank you very much. Or listener. Hopefully you can listen in the future. And I did my bit yesterday by playing some of the wonderful music of Cake from the Fashion Nugget album. And apparently, according to YouTube, that wasn't very acceptable to certain people. And so the lovely people of Russia are no longer able to view or enjoy that episode of the Daily Freakout. So I apologize, Russians. If you would like to watch the show at some point, I'm sure, get in touch, bobbyfreakout@gmail.com. If you're in Russia and you would like to watch the most unprofessional show on YouTube, I will hook you up with that episode and you can listen to less than 30 seconds of 3 different Cake songs from the Fashion Nugget album. Because for some strange reason, I'm not allowed to play 30 seconds of music. I remember one of my favorite albums of all time is All Day by Girl Talk, and it's a mashup album where he uses hundreds of samples and things to make the album. And he one time said, nobody's listening to a James Taylor album and then going to listen to Girl Talk. But people are going to listen to Girl Talk and maybe go listen to James Taylor. And that's how I feel about podcasting and YouTube, especially when the numbers are so low and I have such a little followership. Why does it matter if I play 30 seconds of a pop record on here? I'm not making any money of this. And it's nothing but promotion for that possible record. You should go check out Cake's Fashion Nugget because it's a great album. Anyway, today we're going to listen to a little bit of Klaus Wunderlich. Wunderlich, I don't know exactly how you'd pronounce it. It's that one there, Mr. Hammond. Check him out. Oh, wait. Check him out. And there's his Hammond organ down there. It's a fantastic record. Again, don't know where I got it from. The back of it says a medley or something. It looks like it's been written on here. And there's some wonderful... He's got a lot of... Look at that. He's got a lot of records out. So we'll see how we go. Let's get started with one of my favorite things that exists on the planet, and that's caffeine. Fantastic stuff. How caffeine alters the human brain's electrical braking system. This is from the SciPost.org website. A new study reveals that consuming an amount of caffeine equivalent to 2 cups of coffee enhances the brain's ability to temporarily quiet its own motor signals in response to sensory input. I'm not entirely sure, to be honest, exactly what that means. What does that mean? Maybe I need more coffee in order to better understand what that means, because the results indicate that everyday habits can alter neurological tests readouts, which have implications for diagnosing certain cognitive conditions. I don't want to read the entire article to you, but here we go. Measuring the electrical activity of the living human brain presents unique challenges. Neurologists often rely on non-invasive techniques to safely probe how different brain regions communicate. One common tool is transcranial magnetic stimulation, which involves placing electromagnetic coil against the person's scalp. The coil delivers brief magnetic pulses through the skull and into underlying nervous tissue. When positioned over the primary cortex, these far out. I read a bit of this article before to try and get a sense of it, but it's gone into much more detail than I would have liked. So I've completely screwed myself over here by putting this article up for something to read and talk about, and I've got nothing for you. But all I can say is that I like coffee. That's terrible that I've... Researchers also use the technique to study brain processes, incoming sensory information alongside outgoing movement commands. They employ the thing. At typical doses, caffeine alters brain function by blocking receptors for adenoids, a chemical that normally promotes sleepiness. So that's the thing with caffeine. It's not actually giving you a buzz as such. It's just blocking the sleepiness, which is quite interesting. Here we go. Blocking adenosine, ADENOSINE, sets off a chain reaction in the central nervous system. It increases the release of other neurotransmitters, including other big words that I don't know, which evaluate overall neural excitability. Carosa and her team sought to determine if elevated, big word, from consuming caffeine might alter the brain's short-term braking system during neurological testing. The participants agreed to abstain from all caffeinated beverages for 12 hours before the testing sessions. Ugh, whole 12 hours. I actually go 12 hours semi-regularly without caffeine. On one day, participants chewed a piece of military-grade energy gum containing 200 milligrams of caffeine. Where do I get this? Where do I get 200 milligram caffeine gum? Oh, it's just the amount of a coffee or an energy drink. Oh, whatever. Anyway, caffeine. I like it. That headline was terrible, and the way I executed it was even worse. Here we go. Let's just listen to a little bit of Klaus to get us into a bit of a better... I'm just going to pour a little bit more coffee whilst we listen. So I love the Hammond organ. I think it's a fantastic instrument. It can be played in so many different really awesome ways. And Klaus von der Lick, this gentleman, is fantastic. Again, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know where I get some of these albums or where I got some of these albums. But I obviously... And I love the fact that in here, a section of the inside of this album is dedicated to all his other albums. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 other albums here by this guy. This is amazing. Obviously, somebody whose collection I managed to nick, liked Hammond organ music, because I've got so many Hammond organ albums, and I'm okay with that, because these are fun fun little albums, in my opinion. Yeah, it sounds a bit better. Klaus Wunderlich. I don't know if he's on. Let's check if he's on any other services. Where's my phone? This is a live stream podcast, hence why it is this ramshamble. Klaus. Oh my god, he is on the YouTube as a topic. And there's at least one playlist here by Brian Sweetenham, which appears to be all Klaus Wunderlich. Oh, brilliant stuff. I'll try to link and promote that somewhere, because Klaus is fantastic. We'll come back to Klaus in just a moment, because we should try to go back to what we're doing. Dun, 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 dun. New sensor sniffs out pneumonia on a patient's breath. So I actually did read a bit more of this article, so I can give something that sounds like an educated opinion, but it's not really. What they've done is they've developed, what did they call it? So it's a test to detect disease-related compounds in a patient's breath. And what they do, so the human or animal inhales nanoparticles, and then when they exhale or pass on those nanoparticles will come out completely the same if the patient's fine, or they'll come out a little bit different if they've got a certain problem, disease. So if they come out and they're missing a B particle or something, people go, oh, we know they've got pneumonia. And that's bloody amazing. It's fantastic. It's a very simplified version. Again, go to news.mit.edu or MIT News on campus and around the world. This is from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And read the article, the whole article for yourself. But it's fantastic, because it means that apparently even at home, people will be able to just use this little device, have a breath, have a sniff, or whatever it is. Inhale. So they'll inhale it, probably through the mouth. But anyway. So professional. They'll inhale this thing, and then they'll breathe out again at some point. And the device, which can be handheld and be a at-home test, will be able to tell them, hey, you've got pneumonia. I believe, and I could be wrong, I'm no doctor, that the current way of testing or working out if someone's got pneumonia is like chest x-rays and stuff, and finding cloudiness on the X-ray in the lungs. So this is fantastic. This is the kind of stuff, even though I joke about how nanoparticles and nanorobots and things have the potential for doing damage to us and being kind of somewhat worrying, this is fantastic. This is the stuff that we want. This is what we need. And wonderfully, the MIT team has now shown they can detect exhaled biomarkers of pneumonia at extremely low concentrations using the new portable chip-scale breath test, which they've dubbed Plasmosniff. Let me say that again. Ready? Plasmosniff. Yeah. But that's fantastic. That is fantastic. That's the kind of work that or the kind of stuff we get from news and, from science. That's the kind of science stuff. That's why I'm a pro-science person, because that is the kind of really cool stuff that scientists, and in this case, dare I say it, student scientists, I think, are discovering. Aditya Garg, a postdoc at MIT's Department of Medical Engineering, said, "In practice, we envision that a patient would inhale nanoparticles and within about 10 minutes exhale a synthetic biomarker that reports on lung status." 10 minutes, and what they'll know if you're dying of pneumonia, whether you're dead or not, or potentially dead or not. That would be fantastic. That kind of technology and that kind of ability to diagnose is just fantastic. That's the kind of stuff we want from forward-thinking progressive scientists. The end of the Mr. Hammond Klaus Wunderlich album is a medley of My Fair Lady tracks from the movie, and it's fantastic. I imagine back in the day, before YouTube and on video and all that kind of stuff, that this kind of album was... Would couples put this on and just have a little boogie in the lounge room together? I like that. It's a kind of a nice romantic thing to imagine, and I hope they did, and I hope somebody soon, or somebody still does that, because I don't. But that's because I'm a sad, lonely, middle-aged man. Home batteries, a game changer for cutting energy bills. I'm a dirty hippie, whatever phrase you want to use, and I don't understand why more people don't embrace solar and... embrace solar and batteries and stuff. There are problems. There's no doubt. You cannot ignore the fact that there are definitely problems. There's definitely storage issues, batteries blowing up, the minerals involved in obtaining the or making the batteries, all that kind of stuff is problematic. Some people claim that there's no recyclability with solar panels, but that's not true. There's absolutely recyclable possibilities, especially as technology improves. That's something people are working on and improving. Why anyone would not have batteries as part of their solar setup or their home energy power setup? I know it's a lot of money for sure. To start with, to get started with having a solar panels on your house. But as an investment for your house, I don't understand why you wouldn't do it. This is an article from The Guardian in the UK. And they're referring to the war in the Middle East having an effect on energy bills. And of course it is. Of course it's going to. So part of my thinking is, why would you not diversify your energy? So I here at home have got two four-wheel driving level solar battery setups. There's a couple of panels that I've put on the roof that are not attached. I can pull them off, take them with me. They even come with their own carrier bags and stuff. And then I've got a couple of batteries with a couple of inverters, and I use them to charge my small technology of iPad, phone, solar lights, that kind of stuff. One of my setups, if my fridge was working, would also power my 12-volt four-wheel driving fridge. When I've got the battery or the pump working for my off-grid shower, the solar panel powers that as well, that pump. And it means that, heaven forbid, because I'm terrible with money and forgetting to pay bills and stuff, if my power gets cut off, I can live relatively comfortably without the mains power attached to this place. I've got a good little Bluetooth speaker, and so I can power that. I can charge that and power that. I do a lot of things based predominantly from the iPad, so I can work that. And it just means that my life has got that sort of safety net in a way. It also means that my power bill is reduced by a small amount. It's not huge, but it has to be a little bit. So if I bought a house, or bought this house even, solar panels would be on the roof. You'd have a big ass battery and inverter system going, ready to use, and at least a number of the things around the house would be on the solar, meaning that I've then got mains. So if something goes wrong with the solar, I've still got mains, and if something goes wrong with the mains, I've got solar. And then I know a lot of people get solar just so that they can send it back to the grid, and then they get $1 off their bill or something. But I'm like, well, why not have your battery, fill your battery, then send it to the grid? Because then you've got your supply. It's like being reliant on tap water when you can have some water tanks attached to your downpipes. And then you've got both. And so as fuel crisis and energy crises happen because of wars around the world, these seem to be the most logical, sensible things. And I actually really like it. I look around, if I ever get high enough to look down on some of the houses around here, there are so many solar panels on roofs. And whether they're going straight back to the grid or to batteries, it doesn't matter. They're all contributing to the fact that that's where we're headed. And I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I even want to get like a little wind turbine, because it gets windy here sometimes, and pop that up there as well to charge the batteries. And that's the thing. Some people are like, oh, but it doesn't make power at night. What are you going to do? It's like, well, you've got a battery. You put it in there, you store it into the battery, and you're good to go. And then if you want to, for whatever, it's like having any kind of energy source. You're having a store and a stockpile of it so that you can use it when you need it. And I don't understand why you wouldn't do it. Rebecca Dibbs-Simkin, the Chief Product Officer at Octopus Energy, says the falling cost of home batteries could prove to be a game changer in 2026 by allowing customers to fill up when electricity is cheap and power your home when it's expensive. That's the other thing. Somehow electricity is more expensive at certain times, like due to demand or what have you. Imagine if we take away some of that demand and then we just bring the power down, the cost down. Battery prices have dropped by 90% since 2010 and continue to get cheaper every year. This is only the beginning of what this technology can do for families and businesses across Britain, and I would say across the entire world. That's the other cool thing about solar and alternative green energy, it is getting cheaper. No one's making this technology more expensive. It's not getting more expensive. It's not harder to produce. It's easier to produce. Panels are getting more efficient. Batteries are getting more efficient. There are problems. Battery disposal, etc., etc. Recyclability of panel parts, all that kind of stuff. But it's better than a big, massive hole in the ground from mining. And let's diversify. Let's have a bit of both. Don't understand why we can't have a bit of both. Why can't we have electric cars and petrol cars? Why does it have to be one or the other? Anyway, I'm a dirty hippie, so I like the idea of solar panels and batteries. Just get a battery. Get a battery for your solar panel. Klaus, take us away. I wonder if the people from Telefunken, I think that's the record label, it's the Royal Sound Stereo. I can't see the... So this was made in Germany apparently. And it's Telefunken Decker, Western Germany. There's not even like a year or anything on this. I hope they don't mind that I've played a little bit of Klaus von der Lick. Hopefully they'll be okay with it and we won't get blocked in Germany, just like in Russia, because I've got no problem with the Germans at the moment. They've got a history, but yeah, anyway. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been the Daily Freakout, the most professional, most smoothest, live streamed podcast thing, news on the internet. If you like the show, please like and subscribe. I doubt you will though, because, I mean, I heard it. I could hear it. I've got the headphone on. I could hear what was going on. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow. I've got to go to work tomorrow. This is my Sunday, but tomorrow is work day. Tomorrow is Monday. So unfortunately, I may not be as motivated, but we'll see how we go. Thank you very much. This is the Daily Freakout. Goodbye.